Probably want to get your student loans canceled. Well, we're glad that you found us. What took you so long? Please spread the word about this group. StudentLoanJustice.org. We've been doing this for 16 years now. We are the oldest, largest, and in many ways, only true grassroots group actually fighting for student loan justice. We've been featured on 60 Minutes and New York Times, Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 blah. Many, many things over the years have we done. We have learned much over the years. And I am here to tell you that right now, tonight, is the best position we have ever been in. I know it doesn't seem like that right now because Joe Biden is like, oh no, I'm not canceling loans. And all the media, as of literally about 2 to 3 weeks ago, seems to be turning against us. But folks, I'm here to tell you, we got this. Make no mistake. And by the way, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out now, and I will be more than happy to respond to them if I can see them. So, here's the current state of the world with student loans. The lending system is failed. It's a dead man walking. These loans are going to go away one way or the other. We are fighting for a clean death where the loans get broadly canceled. Everyone can move on with their lives, stimulates the economy, and quite frankly, ends this lending system so that we can put a more fair, rational, equitable, maybe, I'm not even sure what that means, but a better financing system in place for funding the colleges. Before the pandemic, 80% of everybody was never going to be able to repay their loans. They were either not paying at all, and that's over half, or they were paying and paying and paying. Their loan balance was going up, not down, up. So the subprime home mortgage rate was about 20%. By my best estimates, even before the pandemic, we were headed for a default rate among everybody walking around with student loans on January 1st, 2020, of something like 60, 65, maybe even 70%. So folks, by all rational metrics, this lending system was dead even before COVID. Like, remember that scene from The Matrix, the opening scene of the first Matrix film? The guy goes, "Captain, your men are already dead." Well, so too is it for this failed, tyrannical, unconstitutional, viciously predatory, weaponized, I could probably do like 12 more adjectives, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Ridiculous lending system. Okay, one more adjective. This lending system is done, guys. And here is the most important thing you need to know. We control this lending system. It does not control us. This is a control issue, make no mistake. The government was given a toothpick of power back in the 70s when Congress, including then Junior Senator Joe Biden, removed or restricted bankruptcy protections for federal student loans. That became fait accompli really in 1998, and then it was extended to private student loans in 2005. But the point is, guys, the founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army in the Constitution. Taking this away uniquely from student loan borrowers is what gave us the fiasco, the catastrophe, the swindle, the scam that we now see here today. Now, the golden rule says that he who holds the gold makes the rules. You might not like it, but that's what it is. And a lot of bankers love saying that. They go, "Oh, you know the golden rule, don't you?" Wink. Well, who holds the $1.8 trillion in federal student loan debt? Who holds that gold? We do. Right? It's not sitting in the Treasury Department. It's not. No. It's sitting in these fake promissory notes in Washington, D.C. right now. No, that money is not there. That money is in our pockets and in our future pockets. So at the end of the day, in the final analysis, we hold the gold. We will make the rules. You may be disappointed with Joe Biden, and you should be. He made some very hefty promises to us before the election, and he has blatantly violated those pledges. I would say he stabbed us in the back, but it was more like an ice pick between the eyes. And we kind of knew he was going to do that, so we're fine. We were expecting it, but lo and behold, here we are now here today. Well, this pandemic is essentially the nail in the coffin of this lending system, because people, remember, if less than half of everyone was even paying before the pandemic, how many people do you really think are going to resume paying, happily or unhappily, come May 1st? It's not going to be many, guys. It probably won't even be 25% is my best guess. But and so, guys, this lending system is toast. Whether this lending system has a good death or a bad death, a long, painful, socially unrestful, maybe civilly unrestful unwinding, that remains to be seen. And a lot depends on how hard we fight. There is going to be a mass student loan default on May 1st if they turn the lending system back on. And really, honestly, guys, I'm not even sure that's going to happen, but whatever, assuming that they are, there is going to be a mass default. The most important policy thing that I'm going to tell you tonight is that we are not going to see, let me put it a different way. We are only going to see meaningful student loan cancellation when we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. You know, President Biden could do a press conference tomorrow and say, hey, everybody, I just decided to cancel student loans. I'm going to cancel $10,000 across the board, or up to $10,000 or up to $50,000. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that will be a joke. It will be a paper tiger. He may say 10,000, he may say up to 50,000. But for you, it's not going to be that. There's going to be probably means testing. There's going to be this criterion, that criterion. There's going to be all these bureaucratic weasel words involved, maybe even an application process. And at the end of the day, whatever he says, you're going to get a small fraction of that if you get anything. And quite frankly, I think a lot of people will get nothing. This is how Washington works, ladies and gentlemen. They promise X and they deliver almost nothing. This is how they have run the federal lending system for many years, many decades. The one thing that will change that whole power equation, that whole control equation, is bankruptcy. Now, nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. And very few people will have to file when we get the right returned to us. Just the threat of bankruptcy alone will be enough to compel the president to meaningfully cancel student loans across the board. Joe Biden doesn't want to be the president who oversees a surge of bankruptcy filings so large that it overwhelms the bankruptcy courts to the point of seizure. Like, this would be far worse than even during the Great Depression. No. They're not going to that's not going to happen on their watch. So, yeah, guys, bankruptcy is important. We fought for bankruptcy almost exclusively for the first 15 or 14 years of our existence. And here again today, we are 100% for total loan cancellation. Lending system has failed. No doubt about that. Loans really should all go away. They should clear the debt 100%, start over, start again. But that is only going to happen when we get our constitutional rights back. So the whole point of tonight's talk, I want to talk about the bad guys. There are a lot of bad guys out there, folks. Even some people who say they're good guys are actually bad guys, but I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on you. Let me suffice it to say, we have seen over the past 2 to 3 weeks, and we will absolutely see in the coming weeks and months, an avalanche of media, corporate media, financial media, CNBC, actually Forbes magazine is probably top of that list, but we're going to see it coming from all directions. The people in Washington, D.C., they know what I just told you. They know this lending system is a dead man walking. They don't know what to do. I mean, why else do you think they keep extending this repayment pause? They know what I know. And they know that this lending system is vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. So we are going to see an avalanche of media coming from Forbes magazine and all these other places. And the headlines are going to be like, it won't be that hard to start paying your student loans, or there will be no student loan apocalypse come May 1st. Or look at this guy. He paid off his loans by working 2 jobs and eating bologna for a year. And you can do it too. And probably even some pieces saying, student loan borrowers have a patriotic duty to do their part, pay their fair share. You name it, you name the mass psychological trick that entrenched bureaucracies play, like psyops. And yeah, that's going to get played on us. So I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, put your boots on, because it's going to get, in fact, put your hip waders on, because it's going to be getting very thick going forward. We are trying to respond to many, if not most, of the hit pieces that we see in the media. But guys, we're going to need your help. I mean, on any given day, there's maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred people fighting this fight. There should be a couple 100,000 helping us fight this fight. We've got 1.2 million people across all of our platforms, but that's meaningless. That will absolutely be meaningless unless and until you sitting there, and I don't mean just you, I mean you and everybody with student loans, actually stands up and pitches in to help us in this battle. This is a fight easily won, guys. Look, the bad guys have money. They have salaried, well-resourced, very smart, clever people that are well connected with the media, which is not nothing. It certainly is not. I would estimate that on any given day, there's probably around a couple thousand very well-paid student loan mafia operatives, like swamp operatives, who are playing little games here and there, here on Facebook, on Twitter, on the internet, social media, not to mention all the people that work for the servicers, who are, as we speak, blowing up people's phones saying, hey, we can help you get ready to start making payments in May. And, you can do auto debit. And hey, what are you up to? Are you getting ready to make payments? Yeah, that's a thing. They are blowing up all of our phones, I am hearing. And of course they are. I mean, what do you expect them to do? But again, they know what I know. And what I know is that this lending system is dead. This pandemic was the nail in the coffin. If we were headed for a default rate of 60, let's be generous and say 60%, not higher, let's be kind, say only 60% before the pandemic. After this pandemic, we're headed for a default rate of 75, 80% or higher. So I don't know what universe you live in, but in all universes I'm aware of, that's a defining hallmark of a failed lending system. So the bad guys are doing everything they can to push us back into repayment. And by the way, we need to return that favor. They're blowing up your phone. We need to blow up the phone banks in the Senate right now. If you go to Student Loan Justice and you go to click on the thing that says call your senator. We've got a bill in Congress right now, S-2598. We have got to get as many Republican senators to co-sponsor this bill as possible. We've already got 2. We've got John Cornyn, Josh Hawley, Texas, Missouri, very conservative guys. One of them is a MAGA guy. Hey, we have a couple comments here. Robert Smith says, no doubt. And Michael Jacobs says, hey. Okay, guys. Hey, no doubt. So we need to get Republican senators to co-sponsor S-2598. We've got a couple. We should have dozens. There are a couple senators that we will probably never get because they're just assholes. I don't want to mention any names. Ted Cruz, but yeah, no, I'm not going to mention any names. But there are many, 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 many other senators, particularly Republican senators, that absolutely should be on our side. We could even get Ted Cruz. I mean, we are making a very conservative argument. So by the way, so there's 2 action items I have for you tonight. They are very important. You got to do them. If you don't want to be overwhelmed and buried by the bad guys, you got to help us. And I'm not even lying. I'm not even exaggerating. This group is the reason that this bankruptcy bill is even there in the first place. This group is the group that launched the concept of student loan cancellation by executive order into the zeitgeist with our petition that we started in March 2020, and an interview that we did like 6 months before that. This group is far more important than you may realize. It is only but for our efforts that we are now on the verge, on the precipice of finally solving this problem. But we're not going to get any further until you help. So go to our website, do the call your senator thing. Call both of your senators. Do whatever you need to do to get them to co-sponsor S2598, particularly if they're Republican. That is the first action item. Second action item, again, okay, I have 3. Second action item, again, go to our website, click on the thing that says daily action, and do a month worth of our daily actions. They're not hard at all. It's mostly Twitter stuff, so it takes you literally seconds to do. One person doing it is important, but 1 million people doing it would solve this problem for us within a week. Like, we have such a huge muscle to flex, you have no idea. The third action item, and this is particularly important right now, go to studentloanjustice.medium.com. And let me see if I can maybe even bring that up for a minute. Student loan justice. No, I can't. Okay, never mind. Studentloanjustice.medium.com. We published a very important article last night. It's at the very top of our page, studentloanjustice.medium.com. It was written for conservatives, and the title of the article is something like what every conservative needs to know, or like every conservative needs to know this about student loans, or something. It's like that. We wrote it for conservatives. We've got to get it out to every conservative that you can possibly think of. Conservatives in Congress, conservative newspapers, conservative, I don't know, radio hosts, conservative magazines, conservative think tanks, conservative people, maybe your Uncle Bob, who's a conservative. You need to get this to every conservative you possibly can. When they read this article, they will understand that this is not a liberal issue. We are not liberal snowflakes. This is not a D versus R thing. This is a saving our country thing. And when they learn the truth about these loans and the people being hurt, who more than half are over the age of 35, not under, more than half are either Republican or independent, when they learn how much money the taxpayer has made from this lending scam, when they think about it for a minute and see how the colleges are enriching themselves from this socialistic lending scam, some might argue, they will be inclined to help us, and we need their help. We don't need them wagging their fingers at us. That does nobody any good. It's wrong for them to do that. It's petty and it's small, but who cares? The world's full of petty and small people. We need to see what is in it for them, so yeah, go to studentloanjustice.medium.com and share the living daylights out of that article. And by the way, we've written like 7 articles in the past 7 weeks, or like 6, but it would behoove you to, this is really stupid, but please just clap. I know there's a little clap sign on all of those articles. Just clap a whole ton of times for them. You can clap like up to 50 times or something. Clap for them. That will help get us around on the Medium platform. But more importantly, share those articles broadly. Be creative, be clever. I mean, we're just normal people here, guys. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have a PR firm working for us. We don't have lobbyists in Washington, D.C. making secret phone calls and doing secret handshakes for us. What we have is you. And what you have in this group is everybody else. So if you want to get these loans gone, and I mean gone, I mean take this banner down behind me, throw it in the trash, and walk away. Gone. If you want that, like I do, hopefully you can tell by the earnesty in my voice, then you will help us in this fight. Make a post New Year's resolution, or make a New Year's resolution that you will spend some very serious time and effort helping us in this. We will not win this battle unless you help. If you sit there and you wait and you watch and you worry and you go, oh, my senator's an asshole, I hate my senator, I'm not even going to call him, well, then you're a dick. And that is a cop-out, and that's lazy, and you have no excuse. If you hate your senator, that's all the more reason to push them. If they do what we need them to do, then that's great. If they don't, then we will expose them for the charlatans, for the turncoats that they are, for having abandoned their own constituents, including their own base. Over half of student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent, but they will have sided with the federal government and with these socialistic colleges. We're a nonpartisan group, guys, just so you know. We hate both parties. We don't buy into any of the left versus right nonsense, liberal versus, because we think that's all stupid. All we're trying to do is solve the student loan problem. So if you have a senator that you don't like, it's all the more reason to push them, and push them very, very hard. Like, what's the worst that can happen is they help us. And actually, that's the best thing that can happen. But, the worst thing that can happen is they help us, or the best, worst, who cares? The worst that can happen is they don't do what we want, and you can expose them to the voters in your state. Because remember, we are the largest political voting bloc in modern American history, certainly in my lifetime, probably well before my lifetime. We are not to be disregarded and taken for granted. That is not going to happen. There's 45 million student loan borrowers in the country, but that's only federal loans. There's another 10 million people who either have or are co-signed on private student loans. So we're talking 55 million people. You throw a few more million people on that pile, and that's nearly enough to elect a president outright. Like, that's more people than many countries in the world, like the top 20. I think we'd be like around the 27th or something largest country on earth if we were our own country. We could fill football stadiums like 4,500 times, if I'm doing that right. Plus or minus a zero in the significant figures. But do you get my point, folks? We are a huge muscle, but we've got to flex the muscle. We just have to. Hey, thank you very much, Aaron. Aaron Root was kind enough to paste the link to our Medium page there. So please do that. Hey, Michael says Pennsylvania is both Casey paid to me, lol. I'm not sure what that means, but I do know this, Michael, because we just talked a few minutes earlier. Pat Toomey, for example, is an outgoing Republican senator. One of his junior staffers told us the other day that he would not be supporting S-2598. And by the way, what this bill does, it returns bankruptcy to federal student loans with a 10-year waiting period. But it also forces the colleges to reimburse the government, the taxpayer, up to 50% of the original amount borrowed if the loans are discharged in bankruptcy. There is nothing in this bill that any conservative could oppose. But yet here we are, we have this lame duck Pat Toomey in the state of Pennsylvania, who, at least according to his junior staffers, is going to do exactly that. We need to expose this Senator Toomey. There are 2 million, 3 million, 2 million, maybe 3 million people in Pennsylvania that are absolutely wrecked by these loans. And they vote. We vote. That's a lot of people. We dictated the outcome of the presidential election, make no mistake. in states like Georgia, Michigan, many other places where Biden eked it out, probably with maybe Wisconsin, maybe Ohio. Well, no, not Ohio. Certainly Pennsylvania, though. There's no doubt about that. A lot of people are still unsure whether Biden actually even won Pennsylvania, but that's a different story. As I said, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or you hate both parties like I do, you are more than welcome in this group. The only thing that we ask is that you keep your comments related to student loans, keep the guns and the God and the prayer and the abortion and the LGBT, all the other issues, please don't bring into our group. It doesn't do any good. We focus like a laser beam only, absolutely, on student loans. So whatever your political stripes are, you are more than welcome here. I am personally thrilled that you're here, and I hope that you can help us going forward. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there at that. I think I've talked long enough tonight. We're in a great position. Do not be discouraged or demoralized by this fake opposition media that we absolutely are seeing now, have seen, and will see an avalanche of in the coming weeks and months. We got this, guys, because remember, we hold the gold. We make the rules. But we got to fight. We want that clean death. We don't want a messy unwinding. If you're like me, you've been doing this long enough that I want nothing more for these loans to be simply gone, clean, gone. So I can move on with my life, and you can move on with your life. How great would that be? So make that resolution, guys. Make it if you're not working, make it a part-time job, maybe even a half-time job to help us. There's a million things you can do. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and finally go to our studentloanjustice.medium.com site and check out our articles. The very last thing I'll say is if you could donate right now, it would be super helpful. We get along on tiny personal gifts from normal people, and it's not much at all. We can do it on very little. We cannot do it on nothing. So if you can go to our website and throw a couple bucks our way, that'd be super helpful. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to leave it there at that. Hang in there. Spread the word about this group. Fight. Don't ever not fight, and never, ever, ever give up. Ever. We got this. We need you. So good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody.